What would you do if you won the lottery?
I'd probably donate it, to be honest.
What would you donate to?
I currently work for, so I'd probably donate it to the company so they could do more for our clients.
You heard that correctly. My passenger, great person. She said if she won the lottery, the $1 billion one, if I don't know if that's out there right now, but the $1 billion lottery, if she won that, she would donate all of her winnings back to her company, which I don't think is even a nonprofit. I think it's a company. They do good work. And she would go back to work for the same wage that she currently has, which was like, I don't know, $20 an hour or something like that. And, you know, more power to her. She wanted to do that. And you'd think that's like a rare occasion, but it isn't. A lot of the times to get like, I don't know, like a really good conversation going with some of my younger passengers, and which it seems like more and more of them are younger than me as I get older. I ask them, instead of asking them how their day's going or something like that, I always kind of like ask like a thought-provoking question. And one of the ones I like is this idea of like, if you won the lottery, what would you do? Where would you go? And maybe it's where I live, here in Syracuse, New York, or the fact that they don't know me. I don't know. But instead of hearing something like I would buy a private jet, because that's what I would do, or no, a lot of the young people that I ask this question to, they say something like that. They'll say something like, I'll start a nonprofit, or I'll buy my mother a house, or I'll go to, I don't know, North Carolina for vacation. And, and maybe part of it is they don't understand the scale of $1 billion, like how much money that really is. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's a function of a couple of things, and I don't know, maybe you feel the same way too. If you're not rich, and again, the young lady that I was riding with today, she was, you know, working for $20 an hour, and not rich. Neither am I. I think part of it is there's like fear of being judged, of being wasteful with $1 billion, or like you are, I don't know. Nobody wants to be seen as a rich jerk. Somebody that, you know, flies in a private jet, orders Grey Poupon, caviar, champagne, whatever. I think most Americans that I meet, when you start talking about $1 billion or whatever, win the lottery, they don't want to be seen as that person that rubs it in the face of other people. And a private jet and caviar and a Rolls Royce and all that kind of stuff it's flashy. And I think a lot of people don't want to be seen like that. But I also think there's something even deeper to it. And could it be that a lot of the people that are coming up behind us, because I'm 50, so these are 20 somethings, they have it all already. And like what is $1 billion? Does it really matter? If you're an American today, you have access to everything. And it doesn't feel like it because we aren't, billionaires. We're not the Elon Musks or some sort of sheik in, Saudi Arabia. So maybe we might see things like that on the internet, but it doesn't appeal to most of us because we have so much already. I mean, just on my phone in general, I have unlimited, too much entertainment, from movies to books to TikTok to calling, FaceTiming my mom. It doesn't matter. it's unlimited. And then air conditioning, heating, comfortable clothing. It's like we have it all. And for the most part, unless you're in some sort of drug trade or some sort of violent profession, you're not really at risk of dying in some sort of violent death. It's we live a great life. And so, yeah, having a private jet seems pretty cool. Again, that's what I would do if I won a $1 billion lottery. But will it improve our lives? And I think a lot of the young people don't see it as improving their lives. And I'm overgeneralizing. Of course, there are young people in America that they win $1 billion, boom. They're, and again, I equate wealth to a private jet. I think I can say I think that they have so much already. Now, if you're in, a rural part of Africa and you're extremely poor, you might look at things differently. Or maybe you came from money and then you lost it, you might think of it differently. But I don't think people have that desire to be wealthy. I think the rich people that I know or know of, they worked for it. And so it's not about the opulence. It's not about the private jet. It's about that they built something. I think Elon Musk is not rich to be rich. He's rich because he just did what he did. And I'm picking Elon Musk, but put whatever billionaire you want in there. And I've got this theory I've been thinking about, and I wanted to share it with you. Okay, now imagine this. Imagine you have to go from New York to Atlanta. You probably would just buy a cheap ticket, sit in the back of the plane, maybe Spirit, maybe American Airlines. I don't know what airline you'd fly, but you would fly a discount, a couple $100 for a ticket. And it's junky feeling compared to the person flying on a private jet, right? You with me on this so far? So you have to go to the airport a couple of hours early, wait in line at TSA, sit in the back of the airplane. You can hear the person, flushing the toilet behind you. You get a bag of pretzels. They might lose your luggage, and it sounds horrible compared to the person that goes to the private jet. They pull up in their car, they get on the private jet, and they're served champagne, and they fly to another private runway, and there's a car meeting them. Their life seems so much better than ours, right? So here's their life, here's our life. But I think going back to these young people and why they don't really care to spend $1 billion is we tend to look up at what we don't have, but maybe we should look down. What I mean is this: there's a lot of people that can't afford a plane ticket. They might take the bus, or they may drive because they can't afford a plane ticket. And a lot of times, like there are people in this world today that they might have to like hitchhike or like walk. Imagine a couple hundred years ago, people were walking that distance and dying. I mean, I don't know if that makes any sense or not. I'm always surprised when I hear someone answer that question. What would you do if you won $1 billion? And they say something like, "Oh, I'd just give it away or buy my mom a house." They would stay at their job. They would stay in their house. It's not going to change their life. And I respect that. And that was kind of cool. So what would you do if you won $1 billion? Here's what I would tell you I would do. I would 100% get a private jet. In addition to getting a private jet, I would probably get a really cool custom car, and I would still Uber drive. I know. As frustrating as it can be, maybe I wouldn't work through the Uber app. I would do it a different way, but I would still love to be driving around in my community, connecting with people and hearing their stories. And yeah, I'd still have a private jet. Hey, I created this channel to talk about the fourth space. There's your home, there's your work, and there's your community. But I think there's a fourth space in this world where people meet and they connect, and just for a brief moment. And it happens a lot of the time in my Uber, and I love the stories that are out there. And if you're a driver for 2025, I want you to drive your way. I want you to be safe, healthy, and happy, and make as much money as possible. And just know that I'm really cheering for you. So my name is Levi. This is the Daily Drive. Part of Tip You in the app. Be well, be safe. Bye.